Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Israel Healthtech Solutions Meet Japan from Fukuoka, hosted by Jakore Inc. in Hong Kong and Israel, and Fukuoka City Global Startup Center, supported by Israel Economic and Commercial Mission in Hong Kong and Macau offices. I am Miwa from Fukuoka City GSC and today's MC. Here at the GSC base, we have the director Mumu and Ko and Kai. Before we start the event, I'd like to ask one thing. Please keep your microphone on mute and turn off your video during the event. For the speakers, please turn on your video when you are called out to speak. Before sharing today's agenda, please check the chat box. We will post a link for the feedback form of today's event, so please fill it in before you leave. Feel free to use the chat box to ask any questions during the event. The only thing we ask is to please put the word question at the beginning of your inquiry in the message and before sharing it. Also, this chat box can be used for networking. So if you want to promote your project to all of the participants, please put PR on the top of your message. If you are interested in certain PR messages, please communicate directly to the party you're interested in. Let me start with sharing today's rundown briefly. Firstly, we will explain general information of Fukuoka City Global Startup Center and Jakore Inc. and Israel Economic and Commercial Mission in Hong Kong and Macau. Then the startup pitch session follows. Today, we will have 5 innovative health tech startups from Israel. Each startup will have 15 minutes for their session, 10 minutes to pitch, 5 minutes for Q&A session. Audience members can also ask questions in chat box, and we can ask them to the startups if time allows. I would like to start with a GSC presentation. Okay, so we are a global startup center run by Fukuoka City. Next, please. And this is our team. We receive inquiries and we provide the necessary support to implement the inquiry. Our services are all free of charge. And our services are all free of charge as it is run by the Fukuoka City government. Simply put, when you're looking into starting a business in Japan or looking to expand the market in Japan before setting up a business here, GSC is the place for you. About 90% of the inquiries we receive is from the overseas individuals or companies, and they can use our support while still residing in overseas as well as after landing in Fukuoka City. I'm not sure how many of you have been to Fukuoka or even heard the name of Fukuoka before, but its geographical feature, economy, and the government's forwardness give you advantages. Geographically, it is located in the southwest of Japan, which is less affected by the earthquake. Also, it is very close to Asian continent. Within a couple of hours flight, you can go to major cities in Asia like Hong Kong, Seoul, and Shanghai. As for the living cost, compared to Tokyo or Osaka, the price is reasonable. It is quite compact but sufficient. As for the startup, the city has a fast-growing startup ecosystem as well as good community for the startups. With its compactness and the city's proactiveness in growing new business, Fukuoka is a good place to do POC and also to market in. Fukuoka City has signed MOU with 15 cooperative institutions around the world, as you can see in this map. It shows the wide range of global network that we have. We offer business matching service for the foreign companies to start the connection with Japanese market. As I have mentioned, our network has a wide range, not only in Fukuoka or in Japan, but also globally. And our network does not limit to startups either. We sometimes match business with listed company as well. We do not just give you a contact of a potential business partner. We understand the business and pitch the business to companies in Japanese language and provide practical support, as you can see on this here. For examples, this is a company called DeskMe from Finland. We introduced the product to a newly built co-working space at the center of the city, which is run by one of the biggest local companies. The next example is Silent from Estonia. They produce a phone booth and they wanted to market in Japan. The matching was actually to one of the largest office furniture companies in Japan, who also produced a similar products. But our hypothesis was this Japanese company may be in need of more production in growing demands during the COVID-19, and it was right. The next example is a fiber cord from Germany. They produce materialized and metallized aluminum coated fibers, and they have been matched to Japanese automobile manufacturer. Also, the next example is from Singapore. A fintech startup called MDAC was looking for a way into Japanese market, and we introduced them to a lawyer to initiate the business in Japan. Also, we have connected them to Israeli emerging fintech startups. This is a good example of GSC Global Network. And the last example is a website design company from France called Facility. They specialize in providing an accessible web browsing solution for people with vision impairment. The service has been introduced to Fukuoka City's official website and now expanding throughout Japan. Also, when the individual or a company from overseas want to launch a company in Japan, we have a support menu with startup visa. In order to start a business in Japan, the visa generally required is called business manager visa, which you can see on the right-hand side. But you need to have your company registered or rent a private office or prepare all these things on the list before applying for the visa. Startup visa sort of gives you preparation period to be ready to apply for the business manager visa. Startup visa lasts for 6 months. Next slide, please. Startup visa lasts for 6 months, and you must submit your business plan, proof to show that you have sufficient funds to cover your living costs during your stay, minimum 5 million Japanese yen. The business, however, is expected to be innovative, creative, and contributive, so the business plan is thoroughly checked. After this 6 months period, the startup visa holders will convert the visa to a business manager visa at the immigration office. You can apply up to 2 founders with this visa, and you can bring your family, only spouse and children, with this visa. Just to note, 2 people can apply for 1 business project, but they each have to meet the requirements individually, like the sufficient fund. So 5 million Japanese yen minimum each. GSC fully support the application from applying for the startup visa throughout the conversion to business manager visa. We have a lot of cases who obtain the startup visa, but to pick up a few, here are some examples. You will have some idea of what kind of businesses are innovative, creative, and contributive. The first example is a company called Smarty. Smarty develops a voice recognition system that works off-grid, and their business with advanced technology was admitted as eligible for the startup visa. Another example is the Canadian startup called Steampunk Digital. They have developed an app to simplify the process of capturing 3D data and share. They launched a company in Fukuoka after acquiring a startup visa, and the service has been introduced to Fukuoka City Museum. Last example is from Thailand, Tamago Blockchain Labs. They support the conversion from digital art to 3D that integrates the metaverse platform. And the business was a good example of attracting financial related business for Fukuoka City to become an international finance city. So what Fukuoka can offer and what GSC can offer is an environment for you to start easy and start fast. Thank you very much. Okay, for Jakore Inc. introduction, Jakore has prepared a video.
Jakore is high-tech.
We can't hear anything.
Can you hear it now?
The business development, supporting them in other areas.
Yes, but it's not.
There's an echo.
We hear echo. Yeah.
Yeah, let me start from the beginning.
Thank you everyone and thanks for having us. It is always a pleasure to be a part of this event. Jakore is a global high-tech integration hub that serves as a bridge of business, technology integration, investment, commercialization between high-tech solutions companies and the corresponding industries. I would like to take the opportunity to give you a brief intro about the company. We aim at integrating disruptive technologies to bring digital transformation. This is our team and management. Our founder Shintaro and co-founder Yoni are taking care of the Japan and Israel offices covering the activities including localization, commercialization, investment as well as capital market and communications respectively. Mark and other team members in Asia are taking care of the business development and supporting them in other territories with high potential. The company is established in 2017 and we are now serving as the board member of the Japan Chamber of Commerce in Israel. We started from introducing Israel high-tech solutions to the Japanese enterprises. The market worked successfully as a solid beginning due to compelling market demand. After years of accomplishments and we see there is a growing demand in the regions, we now have extended the same services to a global level through our international networks and connections. We now have offices and representative partners covering Japan, Israel, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Jakore has multiple businesses that assisting the innovative companies. 1. Commercialization. We believe innovative solutions meet market acceptance, and only when the solution is accepted in one market, you can become a sustainable target for further acceptance in other markets and investors. 2. Investment. When you are in a good shape of commercialization, investors is more likely to keep financing you for your growth and to keep you growing continuously. 3. Scaling up. There are always some barriers when your business enter a new market. Our platform is to expedite practical global open innovation with Japan and Israel as a core, utilizing global intelligence and data information, alliance with multiple global partners to achieve the goal. 4. Capital market. When venture valuations feel the squeeze, cash is king for LP. Past pending exit pile up. It is even keen for company to consider their positions in the capital markets. We are working on a few cases for dual listing and to find alternative exit strategies for stakeholders. Let's come to see some use cases and their elaborations. 1. Nexture, which is a vision-based software with artificial intelligence capacity dashgun. To enter the Japan market, we joint venture with them with our investment and create a sales distribution platform together. 2. Vaxalife, which produce protein using advanced algae growing tech with flat light. They also use geothermal energy with fully automated factory in Iceland and produce 10 times nutritional value algae for protein consumption. We have them business matched with one of the largest Japanese corporation D.I.C. and create sales channels with chain restaurants owners. They both invested in the company. 3. Bosco, an artificial intelligence-powered parenting app that detect and prevent treats to children via their mobile. We joint venture and invested with the company together with another business development Japanese enterprise and create crossover sales channels for them. 4. Fat Ginger Cat. This is the content translation technology that eliminate the gap between fans and artists on a global scale covering language and distribution. We invested in the company and assist them to apply into the manga industry in Japan. As per investment, we recently set up a small fund investing into those Israeli serial entrepreneurs with Japan collaboration. Successful commercialization is always our key for investment, and we will continue to set up funds with our global family offices partners and LP for this objective. I also would like to give you some highlights of our services, including innovative solution data from different countries, dual listing service, cooperate with leading investment banks, offshore company incorporation, and commercial professional services plus innovative tour visit. We also produce our special reports and ebooks for innovative solutions, help to get a better understanding of the latest innovation development. We help co-organizing seminars and convention, webinars like this, and create opportunities for business matching. Once again, commercialization and distribution are the core of everything. This is the workflow we are working with business partners. On top, Jakore deals with a lot of works between Israel and Japan upon special requests. For example, we serve as a conductor for the Japan Minister for Ministry of Economy for his Israel visits. We have exposures from time to time in many news and press releases. We published a book a few years ago that served as a guidance for Japanese enterprises for their understanding on Israel innovative companies. Last but not least, I would like to say thank you to all our working partners, and we are grateful to have the support from the Israel Economic and Commercial Mission offices around the globe, especially from the Hong Kong and Macau, South China, and Beijing offices. That's all for me today. This video is created with the assistance of Kofum's artificial intelligence voice from Japan. Feel free to let us know if you need any assistance for your market exploration. Contact us, and I look forward to meeting with you for detailed discussion. Have a good day and a successful event.
Okay, so next, we would like to invite Ms. Einat Nixon, the head of Israel Economic and Commercial Mission in Hong Kong and Macau, to give an introduction.
Thank you. I'll just share my screen for a second. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. So thank you, GSC and Jakore, for organizing the webinar, and thank you for inviting me to share some words about the Israeli ecosystem. So again, my name is Einat Nixon. I head the Israeli Economic and Commercial here in Hong Kong, and I cover also Macau. I have colleagues in another 50 other cities around the globe, of course in Japan, and almost in every Asian country around here. So what we are doing in the economic mission is that we are trying to facilitate business relation between Israeli companies and local companies. We help local companies to identify and scout for the right partner for them in Israel. So we understand what is their challenges, and then we help them scout for the right companies. And then we facilitate the meeting between them to the companies. We organize visits or delegation to Israel or any other major event, and a lot of other things. I'm not sure how many of you have been to Israel. So Israel is quite a small country located in the Middle East. I'm saying small, but it's actually 20 times bigger than Hong Kong. And you probably heard a lot of things about Israel. One of them is that Israel is a nation of innovation, startup nation. And here are some numbers that actually describe what does it mean to be a nation of innovation. So Israel have more than 500 multinational corporations working in Israel. 15% of our GDP is derives from the high-tech industry. So you can understand how important this industry in Israel and how much the government is putting into this industry. We have more than 9,000 startups companies in Israel, which makes Israel the country with the highest concentration of startup companies per capita. Israel ranked as the third in the numbers of companies listed in the New York Stock Exchange, was ranked fourth in the global startups ecosystem. And this is actually back the number of being a nation of innovation. So a bit about the healthcare sector in Israel. The health tech companies are about 20% of all startup companies in Israel. So 1 out of 5 companies are health tech companies. You can see here that between the years 2015 and 2022, there were growth of 31% in the number of health tech companies. You also can see from this graph that most of the companies are in the medical device and the digital health, which actually makes sense if you take into account the growing population, the aging population, and of course, after COVID, we all understand the importance of having a good medical assistance remotely. You can see here about the investment into Israeli companies, Israeli health tech companies. So 2021 was a bit off year, but even if you look at the numbers between 2020 to 2022, you can see there is some kind of increase in numbers. Between 2018 to 2022, the deal size was almost doubled, which can actually reflect about the faith that investors have towards Israeli companies. Those are the big names of healthcare and medical leading corporate present in Israel. What does it mean to be present? It can be a manufacturing plant, it can be R&D center, it can be a tax counting office, but I'm sure that most of you know some of the names. A bit about the future event that you can meet in person Israeli companies. So in early November, we have an event in Jerusalem, in Israel, MIXI, and mid-November, we're going to have an Israeli pavilion in Medica. So if you want to learn more about those events or you are planning to attend one of those events, please reach out to us and we can help facilitate the meeting or help you and introduce you the right companies for you. Thank you. This is our LinkedIn. So you should follow us to learn more and to stay up to date with all the relevant information about Israel and our events. Thank you, everyone, and look forward to continue collaboration with everyone here. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the great presentation. And let's begin our main session for today. And we will go by order of in the alphabetical order. So our first presenter for today is Mr. Shai Garnot from Effectivate. Mr. Garnot, if you're here, please start the presentation. Mr. Garnot. Okay, maybe we can move on to the next one and then Mr. Garnott can present it later. Is Mr. Avi Van David from Essence Smart Care ready to do the presentation? Is a representative from Essence Smart Care ready to do the presentation?
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Torao Kato, and I am here today to talk to you about Essence Smart Care and its product and services. So let me share my slide to everyone. Hold on, please. Can you see my screen, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, let me start. The Essence Smart Care Limited is a company that provides innovative technology solutions to support elderly people in living comfortably at home. Our goal is to create an environment where elderly people can live independently while their loved ones can rest assured that they are safe and secure. Let me introduce briefly about Essence Group. Essence started in 1994 as a company that develops and manufactures security-related IoT devices. To date, we have manufactured and sold more than 75 million devices in over 46 countries. Utilizing the technology cultivated in the development and manufacturing of security products and services, we entered the business field of monitoring services for elderly and established Essence Smart Care Limited in 2014. So it's about nearly 10 years now. Our solution is to provide a range of products and services that help elderly people live independently while providing peace of mind to their loved ones. Our products include smart alarms, health monitoring devices, and telecare services that allow elderly people to stay connected with their loved ones and receive assistance when needed. The benefits of using our product and services are numerous. Elderly people can maintain their independence while staying connected with their loved ones, and the caregivers can provide better care by having access to real-time health and activity data of the elderly people living alone. We call it a smart care ecosystem. The next slide. Our Essence Cloud platform with smart algorithm and analytic engine connects the elderly and the caregivers. Let me show some numbers. 4.5 million households served by Essence platforms worldwide. And recently in the year 2022, 3.5 million emergency calls served in one single year. This figure shows an image of device installation at home. Next, let me introduce some of the core devices and system in more details. MD Sense. This is a fall detection sensor with multi-wave radar technology covering wide range of room area of 4.5 times 4.5 meters. This slide shows two-way voice communicator with voice recognition technology in case of elderly's emergency. Care at Home Family. This is the most basic kit with two infrared motion sensors and one open-close sensor connected with a main control panel. It can be customized and upgradable easily expanded with additional devices. You can monitor the daily activity 24 hours, 365 days in real time through PC dashboard and or portable devices on screen. Let me explain how it works. In case there are unusual lack of activity in the house, the system generates alert to the family members, caregivers, and call center immediately. This is unusual case of exit entry in the midnight. This case, it might be nocturnal wandering. Also, you can set an alarm to be triggered when there is no activity at home for a certain extended period of time. This is another unusual case of excessive use of toilet on December 31st, for example. The resident may have diarrhea in this case. On the contrary, if the frequency of the toilet use is too low, it could be dehydration is suspected. Next slide. In Japan, we just started business. Earlier this year, we joined Ehime Digital Implementation Acceleration Project and conducted POC using our system and devices. We installed door sensors and motion sensors in the front door, a toilet, living room, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, and several houses where elderly people living alone in local area. This slide shows how we monitor daily activity in his or her house. The summary of this POC is showed on the website of Ehime Prefecture called Triangle Ehime. We received favorable evaluation from the care service providers and the family members who participated in this POC. I wish we could have an opportunity and a chance of POC in Fukuoka city in the future. Vital On, platform that allows you to instantly check vital data measured with various devices on the screen. It can link with measuring instruments such as weight, blood pressure, body temperature, pulse, and blood oxygen saturation. In conclusion, Essence Smart Care is committed to providing innovative technology solutions that support elderly people in living comfortably at home. We believe that our product and services can make a real difference in the lives of elderly people and their loved ones. And we can provide various types of solutions according to the stage of aging. To date, 60 plus business partners are collaborating with Essence and deliver services worldwide. Not just with private companies, but we collaborate with public sectors as well. This is example. Let me share recent news. Just 1 week ago, we signed a contract with the community of Madrid in Spain and plan to deploy devices in 100,000 senior citizens' house. Last slide, but not the least, we would like to contribute to this aging society, including Japan, leveraging the power of IT, IoT, minimizing the cost and maximizing care performance for the elderly people. Thank you for your attention. If you would like more information about the product and services, please don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kato. Thank you for the presentation. Now we would like to move on to Q&A session. Our member of GSC will ask you a few questions. Would like to start? Sure, sorry. Okay.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I just had one simple question, or not too simple, but comparing your devices to other devices similar in this world, what would you say that your devices stand out against your competition?
Thank you very much for your good question to the point. I believe our strengths of our product and services is we have the platform and the control panel that link to the various kinds of devices, vital and motion activity in the house, and using the one SIM card, and it's very, very stable with the communication to each device, and instantly send the data, the vital data and the motion data instantly to the control panel, and then next to the cloud, the very sophisticated cloud, and then show to the dashboard and portable devices.
Understood. Thank you for your answer.
We'd also like to ask a question. You mentioned you have a POC with Ehime Prefecture,
Mhm.
and I would like to ask about the localization. So you also have like a management platform of all your devices, and then have you localized like in terms of language and the UI, and or if you have any like hardship towards localizing it, could you tell me what they are?
Yes, we had hard work to localizing the language and the user interface. And as of now, we have multiple language versions, including Japanese versions. Others are, as I showed in the slide, we have partners worldwide. So we have English, German, French, Spanish, yeah, and Germany, and the Japanese. Yeah, so in this last POC in Ehime Prefecture, we use a Japanese version of the user interface.
I see, thank you. Have any other questions?
So I have one question. This is called of GSC. I think you already did the POC at Ehime Prefecture. And are you willing to have the POC with other prefectures such as Fukuoka City or Fukuoka Prefecture or other prefectures?
Yes, indeed. I would like to have the opportunity to have the POC in Fukuoka Prefecture. The reason why we engaged in the POC in Ehime, partially, it was my hometown. But Fukuoka City is also close, and I am very happy to have the opportunity of the POC.
Thank you. And this is Momo. And Miwa, you have to call Torao-san, not Kato-san. Yeah, more friendly, right?
Yes, Toro is my first name, so please call me in any way.
And thank you for your very impressive and explanations. And I also understand your products are GITEKI certified for Japan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I found it. Okay. And so the one question is that is it a medical product like a class 1, class 2, or it is not medical product?
It is not a medical product. But besides, if we link with the vital devices, yes, we should get the certificate for that. So, yeah, so in that case, we shall discuss deeply furthermore with the manufacturer of such medical devices. Yeah,
all right.
Technologically speaking, it is very possible, feasible to link.
I understand. I understand because it is regarded the medical products, so they have the different strategy. I think it just it up to the sort of positioning and the strategy. I understand that.
Yeah.
And another question is, I'm a little curious that you are working with a Wellmo startup company based in Fukuoka.
Yes.
So the Wellmo is just one of your customers.
Yes, Wellmo is one of the partners, customers, and we are looking for various partners in each local area, or we each other mutually leverage our mutual strengths and combine the partnership.
It is a regional wise. For example, Welmo is in charge of Shikoku Island, something like that.
Well, it's not necessarily a regional aspect. Velmo has a contact with the Ehime Prefecture, and we are asked by Velmo to provide the systems and devices.
Okay, I got it. And so when you talk to the Ehime Prefecture together with the Welmo, so I think the prefecture government agree that this is a good product. And how did you promote that? Because prefecture itself is not user. User is a sort of just a home or maybe the cleaning, something like that.
Yes.
Can you tell me there's some story about that?
Yes. After this POC, we are aiming to develop the business. That is not necessarily for us B directly to C. Maybe B2B2C or B2G2C. So after this POC in Ehime, backed with this good performance and the result, yes, we would like to promote our product and services to various potential partners, which would be sometimes it is a municipality, sometimes it's a private sector. Yeah. So we are on the journey to look for the partners.
Yeah, we love journey, particularly the core. We love the journey. Yeah. Last year, you are the Torao-san. He is a Tora-san last year.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And
that's nice.
to run the POC, can you tell me the rough idea how many users you need?
Well, in the last POC in Ehime, it was 5, but it could be more than that. We have running some other POC in the private houses and also in the nursing homes. The number of households is much more.
Yeah, because you are using the many devices, let's say 10 devices, right? So I think it's so I wonder whether there's some limitations in terms of the quantity of the devices and also the cost.
Regarding the quantity of the devices, there's no specific limit, but I assume that maybe 10 or 20 is appropriate.
Okay.
If it is more than that, it's very hard to manage.
Are you also happy to work with a sort of the private company, private elderly care houses for POC as well?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you are very aggressive.
Yeah, we are happy to make a partnership both private sector and the public sector as well.
We are tiger guys. Yeah. And okay, in conclusion, we have the 2 entities in our mind to introduce you.
Thank you very much.
And one is one elderly care company. Actually, their operation is quite big and very close to the Ehime. Yep.
I see.
Okay, one company I want to introduce you. We'll talk to them. Okay.
Okay.
And the another one is the Fukuoka city government or the Fukuoka prefecture government. My feeling is that Fukuoka prefecture showed more interest. That's a feeling. So that we cannot commit whether they will show interest or not, but we can commit. We will talk to them at least.
I am very much looking forward to favorable news from the Fukuoka city or the Fukuoka prefecture.
Yeah. We have
Thank
to
you very
meet
much.
the Fukuoka. Okay, you have to come to the Fukuoka. That's the very direct purposes.
Yes, I'd love to.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're waiting for you in Fukuoka City. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay.
Our next one up is Mr. Shai Garnold from Effective ready to do the presentation? Mr. Granot from Effectivate, are you here? Okay, let's move on to the next company page. So let's welcome Mr. Ron Schifron from Nitera.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay, thank you for having us. I'll present shortly on Natera and then take some questions. Natera developed its own contactless remote patient monitoring radar, high frequency radar, and I'll get into the importance of the type of radar in a minute. Basically, what we've done is we've tried to eliminate the need for wires, cords, or wearables. And this is how it actually is working. We're actually picking up skin motion movements, and through sophisticated algorithms are able to calculate and derive a patient vital signs. I mentioned we developed our own high frequency radar, and the importance of that is twofold. One is higher accuracy, and two is we're able to discern additional parameters from the signal. And I'll get into what parameters we're looking into in a minute. The way the system works is it picks up the signal, it sends it to the cloud where we have our sophisticated algorithms, and then it's actually able to display on any screen, whether it's a mobile phone, a tablet, a laptop, or a nurse station if you're looking at a whole department. What are we looking at? We're able to pick up heart rate interval, and the heart rate variability, the respiration rate and depth, and inhale and exhale ratio. We're also able to pick up line position and motion, and that's important for bed sores. Vacancy indication, which is important for falls, and the time in bed, which gives you in trends, and bed exit frequency, which is important for UTI. We're also able to synchronize the data with the electronic medical records. We have alerts, whether it's SMS or email, and any user can set that. The data is in real time and it's continuous. All you need to do is a one-time synchronization to the Wi-Fi system, and then it's 24/7. So I mentioned what benefits it has. Also, another big benefit is trend analysis, and we'll get into that example in a minute. We're working on adding additional parameters such as sleep apnea, atrial fibrillation, BioID, which identifies each patient individually, and blood pressure. Those are forthcoming, and we're gathering sufficient data to get those approved through FDA as well. This is one of our studies we've done to get the FDA approval. This was done in Israel in Shaare Zedek Medical Center. It shows we're as accurate as gold standard patient monitoring for these specific parameters. So you're asking, how does it look? This is in a long-term hospital facility. You could see the sensor is above the bed on a rail. All it needs is a hooking up to power electricity. This is how it looks in nursing homes in the US. So what does this give you, the system? Basically, it frees up a lot of the clinician, nurses, staff time to focus on patients in need and to give preventative care and fast response. Also, the nice thing about the system is there's no consumable, there's no additional work, there's no maintenance, and you can monitor multiple facilities or units in one place on one screen. And these are some of the examples of our user interface. In this case, you're actually monitoring multiple locations. Each one of these squares are nursing home. You can see what's going on in a snapshot in each one of the nursing home. This one is a station for a specific nursing home or hospital department. So you're seeing each one of these square is a bed. You could see what's going on specifically with each one of the beds, and on the side you could get all the alerts that are going on simultaneously. And if you want, you can dig into each patient separately, such as this, to get a trend analysis of what's going on in the last 24 hours, 7 days, a week, a month, or the whole hospitalization period you want. And the trend analysis is what's important. Our alarm system has 3 levels, and basically, we have customizable alerts. You could set minimum and maximum threshold levels for each patient and each parameter. You could set threshold alerts, like I mentioned, and you could set baseline deviation alerts. And this is important. This is what's being used currently the most. It's basically looking at the trend, and you could set the time that you're looking at. Let's say the last 3 days. What is happening to the patient and the specific parameter to see if there's a big spike, big changes, either going higher or lower, and then alerting the clinicians on what's going on. We also have technical alerts on the system itself, whether it's been disconnected, daily summary reports, and so forth. About the regulatory processes, we're fully compliant with medical safety and EMC standards. We're fully compliant with HIPAA and GDPR as we don't take patient data. And we have FDA approval. Working on CE MDR, which is expected later this year. We also have the FCC regulatory approval. In Japan specifically, we are working on gaining the frequency GITEKI approval, and that's an ongoing process. This is a case study in a US nursing home chain for a 3-month study. We've shown a reduction in 60 to 70% of hospitalization, and we've also shown a 40 to 50% alarm alert reduction. Tapestry Health is a telemedicine provider providing service to hundreds of nursing homes, which we are working with. Tapestry Health is in the US, and they use the system all the time, and they're very pleased and happy with it. Basically saying this gives them an additional view of what's going on with their patients, and the nursing homes are very satisfies with their service. And that's it from my side. I left my details in the chat. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. I'd like to start with a question. So you mentioned you have like a data analysis.
Sorry?
You mentioned the data analysis.
Yes.
And how long have you been taking the data? And then if you can tell me roughly how many users do you have?
Yeah, we're installing this year roughly 50,000 systems. We got our FDA approval only in October. So basically the first real year of operation is 2023.
Oh, okay, I see. Thank you. Any other questions?
I have another question. I heard you plan to obtain GTK certificate, and how do you plan to start the business in Japan? Are you looking for the business partner in Japan?
Thank you for your question. We do have a business partner in Japan, J21 Corporation. But again, right now we are still in the regulatory process of getting the GTK approval.
Thank you for your presentation. I just had a very similar question to the first one I asked for the Essence Care. Comparing other devices out there or existing ones in, let's say, in a hospital and nursing home, what makes you like stand out against your competition? Once again, a very similar question, but just to get a feel through of what's the difference of each device you supply.
Okay, so competition comprises of many different technologies, whether it's camera-based, where you don't have patient data privacy, and whether it's low-frequency radar, you don't have sufficient accuracy, and so forth. We are the only FDA-approved device with a high-frequency radar, and that gives us the best accuracy in the market today.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you mentioned FDA. FDA from which country are you talking about it? FDA from Israel.
FDA and US FDA.
All right, United States, I understand that. So then now you are applying to get a certificate. I think it will take time. So when are you planning to launch this product in Japan?
That's a good question. We're still stuck in the process of getting the GTK approval. So right now it's a little bit unknown. It's like working with FDA. You don't really know when the results will come out, but I estimate within the next 12 months.
Okay, I understand that. So that you are trying to get the GTK certificate for your product. Because if I think you are using sort of chips for the wireless transmissions. If the chip itself has a GTK certificate, maybe you don't have to get another GTK certificate.
The issue is that Japan is actually the only country in the world that requires us to get a specific approval for the high frequency that we are using. Okay, that is where we are right now, and that's why we're dealing with this approval.
Yeah, I think you're working the due course, but according to our experience, this is a mobile phone, okay? So I think there are two options. So you apply the GTK certificate for this mobile phone is one case. Another case is there was sort of chips, maybe made in China. If this chip has a GTK certificate, there's a probability that smartphone itself doesn't have to get a certificate.
That's correct, but we developed our own radar, and that's why we need to get it for the chip.
All right, understand. Made in Israeli chips.
It's not made in Israel, no.
All right,
It's made in the Far East, but not in Israel.
all right, understand that. And again, I had asked the same question. Is it a medical product or not?
Yes, the FDA approval is medical grade product,
Class 2.
class 2.
Class 2, right? Okay, I understand that. So then, so there's sort of limitation of the sales channel. I understand that J21 has a this kind of certificated permission to handle the medical product.
That's a good question. The device can be used as a well-being product, and then it doesn't need a medical grade approval.
That's
But
right.
again, in Japan, we cannot do that until we get the approval, we get techie approval.
All right. And I think that, again, these are two options. One product can be qualified as a medical product. Same product can be classified as non-medical product. It's up to the usage. Because if the doctor judge something from the data, then this should be the medical product. But this is for example, just for my references. Then this is not a medical product.
Yes,
Hmm.
correct.
All right. Okay, and we need to check because if it's not a medical product, we have some company in our mind. But if it's a medical product, we need sort of regulation, or we have to ask the company because whether they can handle such a medical product. And by the way, I think that you mentioned that your devices can measure heartbeat rate.
Yes, we measure heart rate.
This heartbeat rate, it's not same as data from the ESG, right?
Correct. We measure heart rate variability, and interval. Blood pressure will come later. We are now, the signal is actually working. We are now gathering enough data to be medical approved by FDA.
Okay. Yeah, I think the direction is to become the medical product, right? I think that's one of the way to do that. It's maybe professional product. Okay.
That's
And
correct.
we have some connection with one very big hospital in Japan. Okay. Yeah, and but this because this hospital has more than 1,000 beds. This is very huge one. And this might be one of the option. And another option is a sort of the elderly care house. Okay, but because we never introduce any medical product to the company. Okay, we will check first, and we will take appropriate actions. Okay, once the company show the interest, we come back to you.
Okay, I would love to connect.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one up, so we have Paulson Moore.
Hi,
Start the
Yes.
presentation.
sure. Allow me to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see the screen.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Mira Sofer. I'm Vice President Marketing at Paulson Moore, a company that developed the first home ultrasound. Just in a snapshot about our company, we are traded locally in the Israeli Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. We went IPO 2 years ago. We have a strategic partnership with GE Healthcare that involves an investment from their side and also distribution rights in key markets. The first product that we have launched and I am going to introduce you with is a home ultrasound for pregnant women that allows them to monitor themselves during their pregnancy from remote. There are also roadmap products for IVF treatments and for CHF patients. Very heavily patented IP and very experienced management. From a regulatory standpoint, our product is approved for marketing in Israel and in Europe. We are currently conducting trials to get our FDA approval. And the next market we are interested in is Japan. We are doing right now our first baby steps to be able to submit. So I was trying to think on adequate analogy to explain our technology because it's very disruptive. And I think the best way to explain is to go back around 70 years ago to IBM's first computer. Okay, we are talking about a very big computer with a very few people who knew how to operate it, which were considered experts, and it cost a lot of money. And a bit more than 70 years later, we have the IBM iPad or Lenovo, which is at everyone's home. It costs, as you see, less than $1,000. And everyone is able to apply and use it. And it was one of the sources to the information revolution. So this analogy can really help me explain the concept behind pulse and warmth. Because if in the past, and actually roughly 70 years ago, we had the big ultrasound machines that were only applied by a special group of experts. And in time, they have developed into a point-of-care ultrasound that is more accessible to healthcare providers in different departments in the hospital. The pulse and more innovation, which you can see here on the right side, is a very different innovation because it brings ultrasound to patient homes. It enables them to connect their own smartphone into a small transducer and to self-scan themselves and send the images and videos to remote clinicians for interpretation. So we are actually separating between the physical act of scanning, which we believe can be done by patients, and the act of diagnosis, which always should remain in the hands of clinicians. And by that, we are revolutionizing the imaging ability with technology that is intuitive and accessible for patients self-scan at home and still receiving remote diagnostic and hybrid care from the healthcare providers. So the technology is a technology platform, and the principle is to connect patient with remote clinician. And as I said, the first flagship product is reimagining prenatal care during pregnancy, and later application will include remote follicular monitoring for IVF treatments and improving the life of CHF patients. So how the solution looks like? There are three main components. The first component is the patient's self-scan device, which is basically an ultrasound cradle that connects to the patient's personal smartphone. Then the patient is also required to download an app. They're not paying for the app. The app is the ability to get guidance from the clinicians and by a very specific tutorial video to learn how to self-scan themselves. Through the app, the patient are also uploading. It's being automatically uploaded to the clinicians. And through the app, the patient can also communicate in a virtual call with the clinician. From the clinician perspective, they are using our clinician dashboard, which is basically a software that they install on their computers. This software enables them to receive the remote scanning and also to interact with the patients online. There are two different modes of operation. One mode is what we call an up-guided mode, because the patient is actually using the application to get guidance on how to scan herself. There is no online clinician. She's scanning herself. She's generating 5 standardized videos, which are uploaded to the cloud and then reviewed by a team of clinicians. So the clinicians are only reviewing 3 parameters. They are reviewing fetal heart rate, fetal movement, and sufficient amount of amniotic fluid. So it's a very binary consultation. Once everything is okay, they are sending the patient an SMS that connects her to the EMR where she can see the answers. The other option is a clinician-guided mode. This is a situation which is completely controlled and guided by the clinician. It's actually a virtual meeting like we are having right now, but it also includes the capacity of ultrasound, and it looks like this. The patient is at home, she sees the clinician through the application, the clinician is guiding her how to scan, and he's getting all the images right to his computer. He can adjust the ultrasound setting, he can decide what to tell the patient to do, and this is how they are doing the visit, and it's much more comprehensive than the up-guided mode. Few basic things about this solution. First of all, it always involves a clinician for the diagnostic. This is not a toy. It's not for the patient to decide how many scans she's doing. Everything needs to be prescribed and controlled by the doctors. Also, we are not aiming to replace the routine diagnostic checkups. This is a more between checkups, the ability to monitor the patient, to monitor the fetus, and to make sure that everything is going on as planned. The safety profile of the device is very high. It's B-mode imaging. There is no Doppler, no color. The MI and TI index are very low, as well as the frequency. So the physician always controls the meeting via activation codes that are generated from the clinician dashboard. So they are in control in deciding how much scans this patient will do during the pregnancy, what is the timing of the scan. Everything is controlled by the healthcare provider. And it is important to say that the up-guided mode is based on a predefined protocol that was validated and standardized. So what are the benefits of such a technology? Obviously, a lot of healthcare organizations struggle with challenges with regards to staff burnout, less manpower, less doctors around. Our technology enables better resource management and design of better workflows, as well as more flexibility for the caregivers to be able to work from home. Another very important point is the earlier detection of warning sign that is established through more frequent monitoring. And of course, if we look at the patient, there is better access to care, better continuity of care, and increased convenience, satisfaction, and engagement. We started our commercial footprint in Israel 2 years ago with a collaboration with the biggest HMO in the country. They're called Clalit. We launched the service in 2021. Clalit is the biggest HMO, which are responsible for more than 55% of the Israeli population, which means more than 83,000 births per year. And Clalit sells the device to every insured pregnant woman who is interested in having this solution at home. And since the launch of the service, we've gained thousands of happy users and tens of thousands of remote scans that demonstrated the precision of the system and the fact that, yes, women can self-scan themselves very successfully, even if they're not clinicians. Another leading hospital that is using our technology is the Sheba Medical Center. Sheba launched Shiba Beyond, which is the first obstetric virtual unit. And they are using the home ultrasound technology to provide hybrid care for their high-risk patients, which obviously need to come more frequently to the clinic. And by giving them our remote ultrasound, they enable them to continue their life, their work, the balance, without the need to come very frequently to a clinic. Like Clalit, they also made big clinical trials before deciding to go ahead. And those clinical trials demonstrated how telemedicine encounter is significantly shorter than the in-person visit and contributes to better patient satisfaction. There are many studies that are ongoing in Israel, among them a study from Wolfson that are investigating the potential benefit in reducing maternal anxiety. And
Past 10 minutes, so if you could wrap up, thank you.
Yes, this is actually my almost last slide. They demonstrated how routine home ultrasound can reduce maternal anxiety in women that have experienced a previous pregnancy loss. In the world, we are in partnership with GE Healthcare, which invested in the company and are also going to distribute it in key markets, including Japan, but they're not exclusive in that sense. And I believe it's my last slide. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the great presentation. I would like to start with the question. So the users, how do the users obtain the device? Is it through the clinic, or like can the users purchase like on internet or something?
Yeah, thank you for this question. So for example, with Clalit, the patient who are interested to buy the device, they are buying it from the Clalit website and they're getting it home with a delivery service.
Thank you.
Is it okay if I?
Sure.
Sorry. Thank you for your presentation. One question I had was, I really like the idea. However, it's when if someone's pregnant or when a woman's pregnant, it's very important to have that, I guess, face-to-face consultant with your doctor or your or someone in that field. How would you try to overcome that with your product? Because a woman or her family might prefer to go visit the doctor rather than do the ultrasounds from home. So
yeah,
like marketing wise, how would you try to overcome that step?
Yeah, thank you for this important question. It's very important to say that we are not trying to replace any component of the existing prenatal care. It is important that women will keep up their scheduled checkups and their scheduled routine diagnostic ultrasound. But we know that there is a big gap between how women experience her pregnancy and the amount of visits and checkups she would like to do versus the amount that she's eligible. A lot of time in Israel and also in Europe, you have this issue of unscheduled visits where a woman comes because she feels uncertain that the fetus is okay. So there are many unscheduled visits and there are many emergency room visits. All of these could be avoided by women that are using our technology and are getting the remote reassurance without imposing on the healthcare organization all of these extra visits. And this is a proof point that we will soon be having, because there is a very big study that is ongoing here in Israel trying to investigate exactly this point. Can we actually reduce the unscheduled and the emergency visits, which are false?
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you.
Okay, I have one question. In case you start your business in Japan or Asian market, how do you plan to promote your product?
So it's still, thank you for the question. It's still a bit early, I must say, because we are right now starting to gather all the regulatory package. And what we are doing is speak with different key opinion leaders and doctors and also a patient to try to understand what will be the value proposition in the Japanese market. It seems that the Japanese market is a very unique in that sense. And the feedback that we are initially getting is that there are a lot of stress involved during the pregnancy and a lot of gaps in reassurance. So we believe our technology can fill this gap very successfully by accompanying the woman in some more comprehensive pregnancy experience, which will reassure her and alleviate some of the stress that is involved and will help her create more bonding with the baby to come.
Thank you. And again, actually, I am with the same question. This is a medical product, right? Class 2.
It is, yes.
Okay. So then you have your partner G Healthcare. I think they have the subsidiary in Japan as well. So then are you working with them to fulfill the class 2 certificate? And also the other speaker said the GTEC certificate. This is for the wireless communications. Are you working on it, or you will start in the future?
We are making our very first baby steps these days.
Okay, understand that. Yeah, Japan is very unique as Israel, maybe. Yeah, yeah, and so I understand that G Healthcare is a partner for worldwide, isn't it? But
they have distribution rights in Europe, and once we obtain FDA also in the States, and once we obtain our Japanese regulation also in Japan, but this partnership is not on an exclusive base.
No exclusive.
No.
All right. So if we can find a company who can compete GD Healthcare, that is what you want, right?
I don't know if competition is the right word, but just as an example, we're working with other structures because, for example, GE are very powerful in hospitals. We think of ourselves more as a telehealth company. So collaboration with existing telehealth companies can be very much feasible.
That's a good idea. Yeah, maybe if another partner is a telecom company, I think the GE Healthcare will not so angry. Yeah, yeah. I think that this is a very good balance. I understand that. So you got they quite huge funding. So then it is related. So most of the investment come from GE Healthcare or not?
No, they're not the most significant shareholder, and we are a public company, so all the information is public and known, and GE have invested a great portion of it because it's not all the 50 million already delivered. They invested 20 million last year, and there is a milestone program with them. So they are not the main shareholder of the company.
At this moment, product is already launched in Israel.
Yes, in the last 2 years, it was launched with thousands of customers.
And is there any country? Not yet.
In Europe, we have a few clinical trials that are ongoing in different countries, and we expect to launch the product by the end of this year because we are launching it through GE. We are not working direct there, and they are doing the preparation to launch the product.
Okay, I understand that. So we will think about that because I think that you give us a very good idea. Telecom company in Japan, there are many telecom companies. And
telecom or telehealth, because we're looking for companies that provide remote care and already have the infrastructure to provide remote care, for example, to people with cardiologic problems, etc. And if they already have the infrastructure and they know how to gain user base, this can be interesting.
And the remote care company, yes, okay. But if the product is already launched in Japan, we can do that. Otherwise, maybe we can ask them to do sort of POC. But it is a very gray zone because the product doesn't have any certificate in Japan. That's the possibility. The telecom company which I'm talking about, for example, in Japan, NTT. This is a huge telecom company, but now they separated two companies. One is NTT Docomo, is for the wireless. This is the mobile.
Okay.
But
Okay.
another company is just for the local telephone network. Okay, these companies want to do something with the local community. Okay. So this is the directions. That's why I think that, let's say, NTT Nippon Telecommunication Company, and for example in Kyushu, and NTT West, yeah, they have the local network. They believe, because they are connected to local community by the sort of old phone originally, and also
Yeah.
internet services, internet provider, then they want to add more services. In that sense, they might should interest. This is my guess.
That's very interesting. And that for sure will be a very innovative angle if we'll take that direction.
Yeah, that's why, one is focusing with the local community. They run by the telecom company, or internet provider, I would say that. Another is the healthcare. And there's no conflict.
No conflict.
Yeah, that's why I assume it might be the good idea. And but there are two things. One is the POC, maybe we can think about that. But for the official sort of the partnership, we have to wait for your progress for the Japan market.
Yeah, I agree. We have to wait. And I think the most efficient thing that right now is going on, and if you can help with that, that would be great, is to connect us with additional key opinion leaders and maybe companies that will help us conduct a quantified market survey to make sure that we really address the unique properties of the Japanese market and not trying to extrapolate from other markets, but really working towards the challenges that you have and making sure that we are solving the challenges and not just offering a technology that is very disruptive, but doesn't necessarily answer your pain points.
Okay, we got it. We did note. Last questions. I think the ear product can be also used to checking the stomach, for example.
So this specific product, the indication is just for pregnancy care, but we are working on different products that will have a wider indication. But this specific probe is really for prenatal care, and this is the regulatory indication that we are chasing.
Okay, understand that. So then we have a couple ideas, but we have to think a bit more. Then, and we might be able to introduce some company, particularly for the market survey. It's a very, the feasible, very fast step to connect you to Japan market. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next one we have, let's welcome Mr. Shai Tauchkovici from Sanobia.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much. So firstly, thank you so much for the opportunity. I love to present our company, and maybe I can start with a short video if it's okay. Let's see if it's work out. Let me know if you can hear it.
We are Sanobia, an Israeli tech company. Our expert team of PhD chemists, engineers, and physicists are revolutionizing the textile industry, one application at a time, using proprietary ultrasonic technology and chemistry. First, we decided to target the lucrative denim indigo dyeing market. Today's indigo dyeing processes are toxic and wasteful, consuming 5,000 liters of water per hour, using up to 20 wash and dye boxes. Denim, our ultrasonic, patent-protected indigo dyeing technology, can be easily integrated into existing lines and requires only 2 dye baths with no need for pre- and post-dyeing washes, resulting in a lean and simple process with controllable and consistent dye shade. The technology saves up to 90% in water consumption while using non-toxic dye chemistry and dramatically reduces waste in production. The denim technology will be installed this year at Pure Denim, one of the world's most prestigious luxury denim fabric developers. It will be available to the global market in 2024. Our team is also developing an odor control fabric application with breakthrough performance and wash durability alongside Bruckner Textile Technology and Delta Galil Industries. Zenovia, reshaping the future of textile dyeing and finishing.
All right, so I will present older slides. As I mentioned, we are very focused also in textile, which is a huge market in Japan. Medical textile, I will talk about that, and I will talk about scrubs and everything we did in the last years. Please feel free if you have. It's very privately. I see most of the people are out, so it's very privately. So feel free if you have any questions and be my guest. So just that you understand, about 500 million people going to hospital with a broken arm, for example, and inside they get nosocomial infections, cost billions of dollars to government, to insurance companies, and cause death. And I will talk about this subject, and I will talk about regulation, and I will talk about sustainability and how the world sees today's climate change and what regulation doing in order to stop global warming and climate change and everything that's related to this. And I know Japanese companies are very strict now. If a factory in Japan is, polluting too much, more than necessary, and the factory, we just shut it out, and the government will find this owner. And I will talk about this subject as well. Just that you know, most of the fabrics we use or dye or have, even after washing machine, they're leaching to the body. It's very dangerous. Chemicals leaching to the body, leaching to the environment, polluting the people and polluting the environment themselves. What we offer is a unique selling proposition, which we are taking any kind of fabrics and we can coat it very easily with a single step, dye or coat it to be antiviral, antibacterial for medical purposes. Also dyeing, that we know how to make dyeing, and I will jump into it very soon in another slide that I have. Just that you guys understand the technology composed from two variants. One is a machine. Machine will use very spatial technique. Today in Japan, if you want to have, for example, my shirt is waterproof. If you want to have this shirt, you need to have fabrics that are use glue and chemical binders to bind material into that. That's very polluted for the environment, very polluted for the industry. You need to use so much chemistry, so much water, so much glue. It's enormous. And in Zenovia, our mission is to find answer for the textile market, bringing sustainability, bringing green chemistry, non-glue. We use only physics. We don't use any chemical binder, just pure chemistry with physics. And I will demonstrate how it's work. So basically, there is a machine, and inside we have a bat, and we shoot ultrasonic sound wave in a very high velocity and speed into the fabrics. What it does, instead of using today in Japan, you just glue to the shirt particles that you want. If you want fire retardant, water repellent, dyeing, antibacterial, you just glue it in. And it's washed out in the washing machine. And when it's washed out, it's, as I mentioned, it's very dangerous and contaminated for people, for the environment. And what we're doing, basically, we are taking a very unique technique to bind the particles so deep in a nano size into the fabrics that it will stay there forever. And we demonstrate an ability for doing that. I will show you the ability. Using physics and not chemistry, not chemical binder, using physics and ultrasound, we can reduce chemistry by 60%, reduce water by 90%, save the environment, save earth, use less chemical binder, use only clean chemistry. And this is how we support fashion brand that want to, looking for other solutions that they can stay alive and also correspond with regulation, but also talking to the customer needs. That's about it. We are manufacturing a very high efficient product, very cost efficient. I will tell you why, because we are saving so much space and a very complicated technique that today use in order to coat fabrics. In a very simple step, we're doing so. Just because it's in health tech presentation, I will demonstrate what we did in the last 2 years. Since COVID came, we manufacture masks that coated with the Sanovia technology. We used to sell this mask in e-commerce in Japan, in China a little bit, in the States. We sold about $32 million of this mask. And what's special about it? It's that the material on the mask, even after multiple washes, it still stay there, even after multiple washes. It's a nanoparticles of zinc known to be antibacterial. It's destroyed the bacteria, fungi, viruses, COVID-19, for example, variation of COVID-19. And this is just to show you our health tech part and how we did this in the last year. We sold this a little bit in Japan, but mostly in Europe, in the US, and Israel. We sold bed sheets, we sold pillowcases, we sold bags, and everything we manufacture in a very expensive way in Israel and sell it in mostly Western part of the world. The technology can be relevant for any kind of technique. For example, we are doing odorless fabrics. It's very interesting for activewear and fashion brands. We are doing a seat cover for transportation. We can coat any kind of fabrics. Doesn't matter for us if it's woven, non-woven, leather, plastics, whatever. The technology is basically doesn't mind for her which kind of fabrics, because we are working on physics and not chemistry. Our team, I will go back to that if I have time afterwards, even a Nobel Prize winner that is in our team. And just give you some evidence of what we did in the last years regarding health tech. We sold fabrics, we sold masks, we sold bed sheets to other companies. And we're very much interested in working in Japan to distribute product. Obviously, it's very Japanese is a market that will need masks for good. And just to show you guys how it works, it's a very fast video that we put in. So any kind of fabrics goes into our machine, and you will see basically explosion of particles into the fabrics that gives the solution the ability for being antiviral, antibacterial, or dyeing, or other coating technique that we have on use.
There's no sound. Is there a
Okay.
sound?
Sorry?
Oh, we can't hear anything.
Okay. Okay, it's very short, so it's fine. No worry. This is just, I will explain. This is how the machine works. Basically, we are installing fabrics inside the machine. Instead of using 20 baths that you use to, for example, dyeing, bleaching, we're just using in a single step. And because our chemistry is very stable, we can do it very, very fast and very efficient compared to the other industry that it's very polluted and very not efficient. Just that you see in our factory how it's working. It's a normal machine that has a smarter brain. Because it's health tech product, so we checked all the fabrics that we have, and even bacteria that resisted to antibiotics like MRSA, E. coli, Klebsiella, and so forth. And if they're after multiple washes, you can see that there is very high levels of antibacterial log 7 reduction after multiple washing. It doesn't matter. This is basically the technique that dye or coating stay on the fabrics, because physics bind so deep into the fabrics. This is why it can be smart after multiple washes and still be very efficient. Just that you see, and that's about it. I can continue if I have time. I do have time.
Two more minutes.
Okay, amazing. So thank you for the gentleman, firstly. And that's just to show the gentleman how we're doing in healthcare. We also working with huge brands from, for example, from just to show the guys, we're working with huge brands from France that interested in this technology. They understand that if they don't bring sustainable solutions like ours in their industrial line, they will be irrelevant for the client that wants sustainable solution. They will be irrelevant for the government that bind them to be sustainable. They will be irrelevant for the world. So we work with huge brands like Gucci that the Japanese know very well. We're looking to work with other brands and install this machine that I demonstrate in other brands in Japan. Japan have a huge denim industry. So I will show you like how it's working, just very fast. Sorry for that. So instead of, this is a normal line for a dyeing facility in Europe. Instead of using this huge amount of bat, you need about 20 bat in order to do the dyeing for the jeans. We do only one machine. Why we need 20 machine originally? Because the chemistry is not stable and you need to put it again and again and again and use chemical binder. And with the ultrasound technique that we develop and the chemistry that we develop, we can do it all this huge, consumption for chemistry. We can do it just in one step. That's the technique. And this is what we offer to textile facility, denim manufacturer, brands around the world that interesting to work with us. We're interested to use take their all huge process, very complicated, very, consumptions, and just do very simple technique. By that, we will save 11,000 water for each denim that you manufacture. No one knows it, but for each denim that you manufacture, you need to use 11,000 of water, and we're going to save a huge amount of it. That's our promise, and this is what we interesting to do. And I think if the smart people in the crowd have some questions, of course I can answer them. But this is like I talked about how our technology is related to medical health. I talked about how it's related to sustainability and fashion. And I will be very happy to send my team to Japan to visit and meet serious players to support us and help us install machines in Japan.
Well, thank you very much for the presentation.
Sure, thank you for inviting me.
Well, we'd like to move on to the Q&A session.
Please.
I'll start. I would like to ask about the environment part of your business. So in Japan, Japanese government has started like a green transformation called GX League, which is similar to TCFD in the States. Yeah. Do you have any ways or tools to like calculate or to analyze how the company's environmental free or GHG emission rate has like improved?
Sure. Yeah. You mean like how much we are saving, but with our technology? That's what you try to say?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
How can a company know how much improved?
Okay, it's a great question. So what we did, let me share it with the crowd. LCA, fiber, made to flow. So what you will see here, it's a report we did about Japan, China, and Asian market. I can send it to you. It's a report that's basically checking the technology and saying how much gas consumption we will save by using this technology compared to normal line. And what they finding for this technology, basically you can see here the chart that compare our technology in the left-hand side. In the right-hand side, it's the normal technique that used to know to use in Japan. And basically they saying that after they analyze everything, that they understand all the material, they forecast that we will save approximately 90% of the water, 60% from the chemistry, and gas consumptions, I think it's around 95%. Let me check. About 95% gas consumptions that we will save for humanity. That's here somewhere. But I can share this report with you. It's a laboratory, very famous one from Europe. They check how much we can save by using our technology. And I can share it with you, no problem.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate if you could send the material to us.
Definitely. I will send it to Mark because I don't have your email. If you
yeah.
can send me, and I will send to you.
Yes, thank you very much.
I had a question. Thank you for your presentation. First of all, you mentioned the textiles, you're working on a lot of denim, jeans, and also throughout your presentation, you said you're focusing on automobiles or like, let's say like furniture such as like curtains, sofas, couches. Which would you, are you going to focus on those things as well later on throughout your roadmap, or is it mostly based on denim?
You're very smart. Thank you for your question. So because we have to choose battles and we cannot fight everything, our first going to the market is the denim industry. We're working with two latest brands, and we're talking to several more from the denim industry. This is a factory just that you see in the left-hand side, a factory in Italy that we're working with, and we're working with Gucci and some other players. But everything that I showed you about what we did from the medical industry, it's relevant for the technology, but in terms of commercialization, we are starting sales this year of equipment. Basically, it's a very simple business that you understand. Once a factory in Japan making a transaction with us, we send our engineer team, we install the machines in Japan, and then we are manufacturing chemistries. It's like a printer business, right? You're selling a printer, and then you have to sell the indigo or the material for the printer. So this is how we will manage to do it. We start from the huge brand, from the denim manufacturer, and then we will move on to more fields and different industry. But this is the first step in the market. We start this year the machines. The first installation is in Italy, then afterwards is in France, and then will be other places, hopefully in China and Japan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure what is the product, because for 4 years of the product services, we need a machine and also the dyeing material and the textile, right? And which one are you selling?
Exactly. So because it's a medical related event, I choose to present both. We have an e-commerce store that we sell the mask bedsheet that we manufacture by ourselves with the technology. This is something small compared to the potential from the technology. Our main efforts today is to work with huge brands and factories and producers. And what we are selling is very simple, is a machine and chemistry. Once there is a factory that's interested to have improve his facility with our machine compared to the very old processes, we send our team, we install the machine, and then we manufacture chemistry. In Israel, we manufacture bottles of chemistry, and we send it to the client place, which he need to refill in his machine once the chemistry it's over. This is the product. The product is to make any textile, denim line, sustainable and save energy, money, and cost. This is the product. But also, if you guys interesting, we have a huge inventory of face masks that is durable and antiviral. I know Japan, compared to the other worlds, are still using face mask and antiviral, antimaterial medical use. So we are selling this too. We have bed sheets, and just that you guys know that is relevant.
Yeah, now in Japan, the face mask is becoming a sort of the beauty item. A lot of the girls want to hide this part. Then they feel they look much more beautiful. Yeah, and so then for the Japanese market, if you do businesses at the beginning, you want to export the machine from the Israel, and you want to export the chemistry from the Israel. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And again, automotive industry, because you mentioned automotive industry. So are you currently working any discussion with the automotive industry, or this is just future plan?
No. We have another product that you guys know. It's very important you guys know. Another product is what I show in the picture. Basically, the machine here, it's making the fabrics antiviral, antibacterial. This is very important for some automotive car industry. And we are working also on that. We have a fabrics that is durable for smells and for bacteria and fungi and mold. So companies are interesting for the autonomous vehicle that many people go in and out. It are interesting to have this technology inside the automotive. So we are in discussions with few autonomous automotive brands and their manufacturer. We still don't have a partner for this industry. Commercial partner for this industry.
It is a totally different product.
Correct. It's a different machine and a different chemistry. Correct. It's also something that we developed. We do it today with Israeli company called Delta Galil. It's a listed company like us in Israel, a bigger one. And we have a machinery in their facility. They work with brands like Victoria's Secret and other brands that not interested in the they're not in the denim industry, but they're in sport and brand industry, and they're interested to have the fabrics odorless and antibacterial. So we are selling them this technology.
For the another product for the automobile industry, the same as the product you explained. So this is also eco-friendly. Am I right?
Correct. You are very correct. Yes.
Okay. I think because this is just limitation of our network, and we don't have any company within our network who is producing the denim or textile. We can, so we try to find out, but at this moment we don't have. But automotive industry, automotive sort of components, yes. That's why if we talk about sort of business matching, automotive industry is a little bit easier for us to talk about it.
Okay, this is something which we can very interesting to work in. Basically, the other product that I mentioned, it's the regular machine that doing the antibacterial, antiviral technology that I mentioned. This is interesting for car manufacturer because they want their entire, leather and entire rubbers and everything will be antiviral and antibacterial, and this is what we can help them do. This is very relevant for transportation, and we have ability to do so. We can send them samples, or they can send us our fabrics. We will code them and send them back, and their scientists will review and tell us how they think we can move forward.
All right, that's a good idea. Yeah, we might be able to do that. And the last questions, for example, I am an automotive component company. Yeah, so I have the interest in a product. I want to buy a product, sort of a set, sort of the machine or the chemistry or different thing. Roughly, how much does it cost? $1 million US, $2 million US. Just give me the rough idea. 1 or 10 million, whatever.
Yeah. So the business is like this. If you are, for example, let's say you are a Audi Japan, let's say, and you want the entire Japanese companies to be with antiviral material. So you go to your manufacturer, and the manufacturer have to buy a machine and chemistry for us. He will buy a machine, cost about $200,000 about. The machine will be installed and worked in their facility. And then he have to buy chemistry, like, a usable chemistry that he can use every day. This chemistry, it's the same, it's compete to the market prices, not more expensive, but it's way better because it's more sustainable and more permanent. The technology is more permanent. We bring quality, we bring durability, and we bring sustainability. That's the key 3 element that we can bring to the table. So the machine part, the automotive partner, we need to work with his manufacturer for that.
Okay, I got it. I think you are very good persons. You are very good for the environment. Yeah,
you're correct. This is a company that is completely used for the environment, and this is the entire job is environment company, and we're interesting to come to Japan and install our technology, work with medical facilities, work with fashion brands, and this is very important for us.
Yeah, all right, understand it. So again, we might be to talk to the automotive company first, okay? Then if they show interest, we can do the sort of, the online meeting. And
Of
for
course.
the textile part, let us think about that, okay? We might be able to find a partner, but today, not. Okay,
Okay.
just wait for good news. All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Lastly, we still have Effectivate to present if the representative of Effectivate is here. Maybe not. So I believe this is a last of an event. Thank you for all the presenters who did the presentation for today. And thank you for all the participants for taking the time to join our event. After this event, we will send you a feedback form, and your feedback is very important for us to improve our events. So we greatly appreciate your cooperation. Last but not the least, if you have any additional questions to Jakore or Israel Economic and Commercial Mission or to the startups, or if you want to share your comments with us, please feel free to let us know in the feedback form. Thank you again very much for your time, and then see you soon in the next event. Thank you.